The definition of cliffhanger is an ending to an episode of a serial drama that leaves the audience in suspense. A story or event with a strong element of suspense. That is the actual definition of cliffhanger. If you've watched this channel for the last 3 years since I started it, you know I've been asking WWE one main thing. And I ask them many things, trust me. Please give us larger-than-life characters, give us stories that we care about, feuds we want to see. But one of the main things is something very simplistic, very basic. Give us cliffhangers at the end of your episodic shows. Is it so much to ask after a 3-hour edition of Raw, at the end of it, to give us something that makes us feel like we need to tune in next week? Not just want to, because there's a difference. We can want to, we can willingly tune in the next week out of habit and hope, not even excitement. We're just going to tune in because we're hoping the product gets better. Habit, because it's what we've been doing for years. That's not having your audience excited, though. They're tuning in out of habit and hope. But when you can give them a cliffhanger, and it ends with suspense, it ends with needing to find out what happens next. Is this dude all right? He just came back from neck surgery, and he got his neck crushed. That's intriguing. They did it last night. They brought back a cliffhanger. It only took years. But we got it. And I'm going to talk all about it later on in this review with Randy Orton and what he did to Edge and why it was absolutely brilliant on all levels. And it started with that Edge promo. But we got a cliffhanger last night. We all need to tune in next week. Need to tune in next week. Not just want to. You went on social media and you had that vibe that people were excited. You had that vibe, that emotion was drawn out of you. Usually Raw ends and you go on social media and everyone's like, oh, that was a shitty Raw. Oh, that was a good Raw. I like that match. Oh, that was the end of Raw? I didn't even realize. You see comments like that. Last night you go on social media and everybody's talking about, whoa, dude, is Edge seriously okay? That looked nasty. Whoa, this is not cool, man. I'm heartbroken. Is Edge all right? These are comments that I saw on social media. People were invested. That's awesome when you can do that. Because at the core of what pro wrestling is, it's about driving out those emotions. What we saw with Edge in that promo last night. What we saw with what Orton did afterwards. That, my friends, that's raw emotion. That, my friends, is storytelling. That, my friends, is a cliffhanger. Pro wrestling needs that on their shows. They do this thing 52 weeks a year. They do it every week. It's episodic television. You can't just end with a nonsensical match or a decent match or even a good match. There has to be a reason for the match. There has to be something that happens after the match. A cliffhanger. If you end your show on just a good match, nobody needs to tune in next week. Okay, we saw a good match. I can see a good match at the local bingo hall with my local pizza delivery guy Luigi Lugnuts and Danny Dipshit Dugenheimer. I don't need to see just a good match on a 3-hour Raw. It's 3 hours of Raw. I should have seen 3 or 4 good matches. The ending needs to give us something that's going to captivate us. We'll talk more in depth about this situation at the end of this review when Randy Orton crashed Edge's welcome back speech. We'll also talk Charlotte Flair. Oh, you thought I was done talking about Charlotte Flair. No, she came into the middle of the ring last night. She gives a speech on who she's going to face at WrestleMania in a championship match. You know, I saw a reaction from Ronda Rousey. She was actually watching the Rumble with her friend Shayna Baszler. Not with her friend. She was watching because of her friend, most likely, and because the whole world thought Ronda Rousey could be in it. So Rousey was watching the Rumble, and there was a reaction video taking place, right? There was a camera on her, and she was all into it. She was like a fan. That's what I love about Ronda. That's her best friend in there, Shayna, and she's also watching as just a fan. And she's all excited, and she's into it. And when Charlotte Flair threw out Shayna Baszler, it wasn't just, oh, my friend got eliminated, right? Because Ronda knows it's a work. Ronda knows it's a business. Her whole body just kind of dropped, and Ronda looks at the camera and goes, oh, that's bullshit. Guys, as sincere as can be. It wasn't even because it was her friend Shayna, and Shayna got eliminated. As a fan, you saw Ronda Rousey just kind of drop, and it's the feeling that we all got. Unless you're one of the 17 Charlotte fans. But it's the feeling we got when we drooped and just thought, oh, that's bullshit. What? And you look at Ronda's face, and it was like all of that. And I left that on social media right after Charlotte won the Rumble. I literally left on social media. All of that was to get us to a Charlotte Royal Rumble. Really? The one that's pushed to the high heavens anyway? She wins the 2020 Rumble, really? With all those names in there, and you could have made Shayna something special. You could have set up Shayna and Becky the right way, because we still expect that match, but that's the way you properly build that up. No, Charlotte wins, and Ronda just droops down, looks at the camera and goes, oh, that's bullshit. I loved it, because it was the feeling we all had, and Ronda is somebody that knows the business, and she was like, as a fan, like, what that... We just went through the whole hour to get to that result. So lackluster. And it's literally, it's like the Christmas morning analogy. It's like the kid that wakes up Christmas morning. He's all excited. He runs out into the living room. First, he wakes up mom and dad. And then he runs into the living room. He looks under the tree and there's no presents. There's no presents under the tree. The parents, they didn't just forget. They didn't care to buy any presents for their kid. The old man in Stamford, Connecticut didn't care to give us something special at the end of that Rumble match. He just said, let's go with, Charlotte. They love Charlotte. She's a Flair. She's a 27-time champion already. Oh, man. So now we have to look forward to a Charlotte Flair championship match, a Roman Reigns championship match. The more things change, the more they stay the same. It's 2020. It's WrestleMania 36, and we're still having Roman and Charlotte in championship matches. And the experiment keeps failing time and time again. This whole narrative that they're trying to push on us for Roman and Charlotte, that's not even shade. This is just the truth. For 4 years now plus, they've been trying it with Roman. Charlotte, at least 3 years, right? Has that been 4 years as well? Probably. But they keep parading them out there, and at least half of the audience, at least, is not buying into it. And it's even more so at these bigger events especially. At what point do you just let the people that are supposed to be there based on merit and their skill level, based on who we actually want to be in there, like Drew McIntyre? Do you realize Drew McIntyre did in one night at the Royal Rumble what they've been trying to do for Roman Reigns for 4 years? It's not that hard of a concept. Drew McIntyre has all the skill in the world. He's got the promos down. He's got the presence, the persona. He's got it all. The total package. What is the obsession with Roman? It didn't work. Yes, he has fans. That's awesome. Put him in the mid-card where he belongs. Who anointed him main event player? Vincent Kennedy tried to. He owns the company. It's his right to attempt it, absolutely. The fans get to decide. We said no. Time and time again. Month after month, year after year now. He keeps parading him out there. Now we're going to have to see him and Bray Wyatt. But why? Roman is a mid-carder. Sorry, not sorry. He is. His little drive-by Superman punch and powerbomb is just not getting the job done. He can have some main events here and there, but then go back to where you're being placed, or should be. The mid-card. You didn't captivate us. Your promos suck. Your skill level is mediocre. It's done. We like Joe the person. Roman? He's just not getting the job done. Why are we dancing around this? Why did Drew McIntyre have to wait this long to finally get this moment? And that's only because people like the Amplified Man refuse to stop talking about how great he was and is. There's people with immense skill level that are better than who Vince wants to parade out there. It's clearly not working for Vince, but he refuses to give us the ones that we know will rise to the point of no return. Their superstar status is unlimited if tapped into. The old man just doesn't want to tap into it. I dread to think how he books Drew McIntyre going into WrestleMania. He'll try everything underneath the sun to ruin Drew McIntyre's push. But we're still going to stick behind him. But I'm sick of this obsessive agenda with Charlotte and Roman. I'm so done with it. In 2020, we need to now put the ones that we know are going to rise that company up and help entertain and excite the fans once again. People like Drew McIntyre, and that's females like Sasha Banks getting her chance. That's right. Put the Naomis and the Ember Moons and the Asukas in these top spots. What is Charlotte Flair doing? Put Shayna Baszler in moments like winning the Rumble. That will help elevate them tenfold, but if you don't give them the chance to do it, you're just your own worst enemy. You own the company, and you are your own worst enemy. You picked one person, Charlotte, one person on the men's side, Roman, and that's who you just stuck with for years. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. They're just doing the same thing every year. And I love those people that go, oh, Sasha had her chance, they say. They gave her titles before, and it didn't work. What do you mean it didn't work? She never got a chance. She got championships only to play hot potato so Charlotte Flair could rise her title count. Do you not realize that? You talk about 4 championships or whatever it is. You look at half of them, 2 of them, right? 2 of 4. It was just hot potato with Charlotte, was it not? I've already done my research. That was just to give it back to Charlotte Flair a couple of times. They wanted Charlotte Flair's title count to rise up so people could start talking about beating her father one day soon. That's the only reason Sasha even got the title as many times, because if you put all those times together, she's only held the championship combined, all those times combined, 3 months. 3 months combined. That's giving her a chance. That's giving her a real opportunity, where Charlotte Flair has been doing this for years in the top spot and has, 9, 10 championships already? Going for another one at Mania, winning Rumbles? What? Sasha had her chance. Charlotte's the one. What are you talking about? Sasha never actually got a chance. Do you realize that? And every time they gave her a big match, Grand Slam. Knocked it out of the park with the bases loaded. She never once failed on the big stage. She always delivers one of the best, if not the best matches whenever she's in a big-time match. Whenever they gave her the ball, she scores that touchdown. But it's a refusal. Absolute refusal. There's an obsession with Charlotte that he has, and we all now have to suffer for it, man. And again, if you're a diehard Charlotte fan, you're on top of the world. And I'm people like me are the big meanies, right? Shut up, man. She's amazing. The queen. She's our queen, Beasley. And you're my dipshit. Oh, we haven't even gotten to the review. Shall we start talking Raw? This is January 27th, 2020. McIntyre starts the night off getting straight to the point, saying, I picked Brock Lesnar. Straight to the point. Well, that settles that. It's official. Brock Lesnar, Drew McIntyre, WrestleMania. Thank goodness. Let's get some matches I actually want to see. Not a Charlotte Flair title match, not a Roman Reigns title match. Let's get to something that I'm going to enjoy. Drew and Brock one-on-one, trying to take each other's dome pieces off. Love it. He then says, after he picks Brock, that he's going to have a Claymore party tonight. Who wants to make a name for themselves? Gallows and Anderson answer the open challenge, and Drew says, I'll fight you both. Because they were kind of arguing who's going to get it. Who's going to get to take on Drew for this Claymore party. So Drew's pretty much like, you're all invited. 2 minutes later, and after 2 Claymores, Drew wins. Now, I hate to see the OC book like that. Trust me, you guys know that. But I love seeing Drew booked like that. So, what can you do? I don't have the magic pen in that company. They won't allow me in those doors. And I can't tell you that I would accept that invite anyway. Because 5 minutes after working for Vince McMahon, I'd be fired. Could you imagine our personalities? Oh boy. But I don't have the pen, so I can't make the OC look good on the same night as Drew McIntyre. I would if I had the magic pen, but no, it's the 714 uncreative writers underneath the stubborn old man. And that's why the OC is jobbing out in just 2 minutes. But Drew at least looks pretty powerful. Again, I ask the question, what can you do? They cannot make two things look really good at once. This company just doesn't know how to do that. So the OC has to suffer. Now, after this match, Brock Lesnar attacks Drew, gives him an F5, and takes off. You're telling me Brock was in the building? Brock had an appearance, and that's how you used him? He comes in for 10 seconds, delivers an F5, so right after Drew looks dominant, you just have him flattened. And you know why. You're not going to see Brock for probably another month or two. So they wanted the lasting impression to be, Brock got some revenge on McIntyre. But you couldn't have gotten creative and done something really cool between Brock and Drew. Brock just comes out of no... Brock's not the type of guy that needs to jump you from behind. The whole character of Brock is, I'm a beast. One-on-one, face-to-face. I'm going to destroy you. He attacks Drew, F5s him, and then he pretty much just runs off. He eliminated you from the Rumble. Wouldn't the beast... do a beatdown? I could see if he, beat him down for, the next 5 minutes around the ringside. He brings him up to commentary, destroys him there, takes him backstage, destroys him there, maybe in the ambulance. Make it something cool, something vicious, if he's going to take off for a month or 2 months. Comes in and delivers an F5. Wow, captivating television. This is what I mean. At least we have the image, the thought of Brock and Drew, and we're definitely behind Drew. Because if we didn't have that, Vince is going to make sure he does everything under his power to ruin this whole storyline before it even gets out of the gate. So I liked some things with that opening segment, and I just didn't like something. OC jobbing out the way they did, Brock Lesnar being used like he was. There was definitely negatives right from the jump. But seeing Drew out there and at least for a moment looking dominant and having that power still somewhat there before Vince strips it away. But him saying those words and making it official, pretty cool. I picked Brock Lesnar. He didn't wait another second. We then went into the first match of the night, but Drew had a 2-minute match. But this was Rey Mysterio taking on a returning MVP. It was good to see MVP back on Raw, but that might need to be the last time we see him competing on Raw or any WWE event. MVP did not look great in there. He didn't even look good in there. It kind of reminded me of Kurt Angle at the tail end of his in-ring career. When Kurt Angle, you could visually see he needs to stop. And that sucks because we love Kurt. We loved MVP as well. But, there comes a time where you see it's not working. That's like Hulk Hogan getting back in the wrestling ring. We love Hulk Hogan, but you don't want to see him back in a wrestling ring because that's just exposing the business in a way too much negative way. This was a slow match. The crowd was out of it, and I think the finish was botched. When Ray went for the 619, MVP completely turned around like he didn't know, like he forgot what to do or something. And he turns around like he was going to get out of the way, but then he just stopped as if he was expecting to get hit. So it looked so unnatural, unrealistic, And it looked like he was literally waiting to get hit by Rey Mysterio. Somehow Rey Mysterio still hit the 619, but it was on the back of MVP. And then he does like a splash onto MVP's back. It was weird. MVP slowly turned over like he didn't know he was supposed to get pinned. It just looked weird, man. It looked off. It looked botched. And if that was the right way if that was supposed to happen, it did not look good at all. It looked like Rey Mysterio's timing was off because of MVP's bad timing. Just odd. Rey ends up pinning MVP, though. Again, it was good to see MVP, but that might, as far as in-ring competition, that might need to be the end. And MVP wrestles on the indies, guys, so it shouldn't be ring rust. BC, throw him a bone. He has ring rust. Guys, he wrestles on the indies all the time. That was just, but again, that is the indies. And, when you're taking on Rey Mysterio on Monday Night Raw, you might have to up your game a little bit. It didn't look like MVP could ball anymore. He ain't straight balling. But we like MVP. We definitely do, man. It just wasn't good. That's all. Aleister Black was up next. He defeated See Ya Later Steve in about 60 seconds with a devastating black mass. And then you looked over See Ya Later Steve, and he basically said, "See you later, Steve." I had to. Post-match, Black grabs a mic and he says the biggest mistake he's ever made was waiting for people to knock on his door for a fight. No more. He put the locker room on notice and said, "I am now bringing the fight to them." So now he's coming to them. So I like that, man. That made Aleister Black look badass. Not just the Black Mass in defeating See Ya Later Steve, but then getting on the mic and saying, he's probably looking at what the success that Buddy Murphy just got in the last 2 weeks and the name that he's making for himself. And Aleister's like, all right, now I know what I have to do. I like that. Our number one ended with Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy defending their tag team titles against Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe. This match went deep into hour number 2 as well. This was like over 20 minutes long. And it was a good match. I just didn't care about it. I knew when Murphy and Rollins won the tag titles, this was to get them over to Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens. But I don't know if plans changed or if the way to get us to a Saudi Arabia match or WrestleMania match is to have them fight 5 times. That looks the way that they're going. Because this match happened immediately. It happened last night. I was thinking maybe WrestleMania we were going to see that match. It happened last night. And during this match, Samoa Joe got injured or taken out, so it ended up being at the end of this 2-on-1. Kevin Owens versus Murphy and Rollins. And in the end, Buddy Murphy got that devastating fruit roll-up. He defeated Owens with that simplistic roll-up. You guys know I cannot stand everybody losing from a roll-up. You go to war for 20 minutes plus, and it's a roll-up that you can't get out of? I see this too many times in pro wrestling. I saw it again last night. It's a championship match. It's Kevin Owens, and he can't get out of a roll-up. But I digress. They're going to play the 2-on-1 thing, right? They took out Joe. Oh, well, too bad. You lost. Why do I need to see Samoa Joe and Owens versus Murphy and Rollins in the future? I don't. You lost. I don't care how you lost. I don't care if it was half of Kevin Owens that lost. This match should not have been happening that quick. That could have been something pretty cool in a few weeks at the very least. And if you drew it out pretty good and you were actually creative, which we know they're not, but if you were, you could have made this at WrestleMania. That's a badass tag match, and that's something for all 4 of these individuals to do at WrestleMania. A title match. And you guys know I love the team of Joe and Owens, unless they book them like this. Oh, you got Samoa Joe being taken out, can't even finish the match. Owens is being rolled up and defeated. Again, have I mentioned by a roll-up? That's how you're booking Joe and Owens? Come on, bro. And again, that went into hour number 2. I just could not stand that booking. So it was a good match for the most part. There was just no care for it, for me anyway. And on top of that, the negatives far outweighed the positives. Now that we're in hour number 2, let's continue. This was a United States Championship match, so back-to-back championship matches. Andrade versus Humberto. And by the way, Andrade, we are getting word, has been suspended by WWE for 30 days for violating their wellness policy and that whole program. This is his first violation, so it is only 30 days. So WWE had the opportunity, if they wanted, to not strip him of the title and just have him come back in 4 weeks. They chose to go that way. They did not have him lose his title. Instead, he just got taken out storyline-wise. But I'll get to that in a second. First of all, the match itself. I can't stand when these type of things don't make any sense. And what I mean by that is Andrade just defeated, and I don't mind Humberto. I love this new little mean streak in Humberto too. Sometimes you got to put the dimples aside and just get a little meaner, right? They ruined Jason Jordan because they had him go out there and smile for too long. Too many weeks, too many months added up. And we just looked at Jason Jordan as the smiley guy. If they weren't careful, Humberto was going to be that smiley guy, the dimples guy. But I love what they did with this Andrade storyline and feud, is they made him the more aggressive, more meaner type individual. You know, he's had enough. He's not playing around. He's not there to smile, you know. So I love what I'm seeing out of Humberto, but he lost fair and square Sunday night on the pre-show, on the kickoff show of Royal Rumble. Andrade beat him. Why is he getting another championship title match the very next night? It's one thing to get a rematch these days. I thought that was done with. But on top of that, why is it the very next... What? So you lose a title match and your reward is you get another title match? This is what I mean, guys. This is that common sense that's just not there. And I hate when things don't make sense. But I digress. Whatever. I'll sit back and enjoy another title match, I guess. I just wish it made sense. Not only was this a decent match, but I loved the finish. Humberto has the match and title in his grasp. He's about to win this thing. And Zelina Vega breaks the count up, disqualifying Andrade, but making sure Andrade gets the championship. I love this for many reasons. Zelina is becoming more involved, and she's becoming like a true heel manager from back in the day that I grew up with. They were involved a lot. Zelina Vega is truly becoming that ride or die. And I'm also loving, again, the fact that Humberto is that no BS, much more intense type character. So there's positives in this. And this infuriates Humberto, the whole Zelina breaking it up. It's like 2 nights in a row now. Sunday night, he gets simplistically rolled up, again, which I can't stand. Last night, it's Zelina Vega. Once Humberto thought he had the title in his grasp, it's Zelina that breaks it up. So now he's even more infuriated, and I love this finish. Because after he wins the match but not the title, he jumps Andrade, attacks Andrade like a heel would do, brings him to the outside just like Andrade did to him weeks ago, uncovers the mat, exposes the concrete, takes Andrade's dome piece, and crushes it right into the concrete. I loved it. And if you look at the way Andrade sold this thing, man, he went... I don't know what he was thinking. That was cringeworthy to watch because he literally went top of the dome piece straight into the concrete. It's like he knew he had 30 days off. He knew he was going on vacation anyway. He's going to take this like a champ, literally and figuratively, because that was a devastating DDT into the concrete. But just to recap why I love the whole finish. Zelina Vega looking like a true heel manager from back in the day. Humberto has that new mean streak in him. And Andrade selling that concrete DDT. Loved it. You know what I mean? So even more than the match itself, the finish had all the right elements. And again, that was writing Andrade off of TV because he did fail a test for the wellness policy. So he has been suspended. Or at least that's what we're hearing. It's very early, guys, on a Tuesday morning, so we're going to get more information as the day goes on, I'm sure. Up next, Charlotte is out. That's right, Charlotte. You know what? I'm just done with it for today. I'm just going to get this over with as fast as possible. Charlotte is out to make her decision for WrestleMania, but all she really says, which basically is nothing anyway, she says nothing again last night. She says, in 10 weeks, I will challenge for a championship because I'm still deciding. Okay, you mean Vince is still deciding, but it's listen to me carefully, guys. It is because they don't know the direction for Charlotte. They don't know. They know they screwed up. They know this was supposed to be Shayna, and Shayna picks Becky, and there's your Mania match. It was sitting in their lap. But Vince panicked, went with one of his freaking blonde bombshell brigade. There goes Charlotte winning, and now they're backed up into a corner. They're in a pickle. Can't have her take on Becky. We've seen that 1,714 times. They don't need to see it again at WrestleMania. And we've already seen Charlotte and Bayley 752 times. Don't need to see that at WrestleMania. What is she going to do? Challenge for the NXT Championship? That would be the best case scenario. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. Give me that. I'll watch with some intrigue. I don't need to see Bayley in Charlotte. I don't need to see Becky. I don't even need to see Ronda Rousey in Charlotte, because that means nothing to me. You're going to have Ronda come back within the next 10 weeks, win a championship, and somehow take on Charlotte. Come on, bro. Give me Rhea Ripley. Have her take on the NXT championship. Champion for that championship. I'm down with that. Case closed. I just solved everybody's problem. Rhea Ripley's got a title. Have her pick that one. Asuka and Kairi then hit the ring. Asuka and Kairi attack Flair as we go to commercial. When we come back from commercial, we enter hour number 3, and that is a matchup between Asuka and Charlotte Flair that kicks off hour number 3. Charlotte was beyond sloppy in this match. I can't even describe in detail, but I'm going to do the best I can. Her timing, totally off. If you go back and watch this match, she looked reluctant to even take anything from Asuka. But timing right off the bat was off. And that's even uncharacteristic for Charlotte. Because I've said time and time again, no matter how much I don't want to see her in that spot, she is a good talent. And at times even a great talent. But, man, was her timing off. But when it was on, she looked reluctant to take anything Asuka wanted to give her. You saw several times in this match, Asuka wanted to do something, and she stopped in her tracks Asuka's momentum. Basically, it's an audible in pro wrestling. If you guys know anything about being in the ring, that means they don't want to do that move. They don't want to sell that. So they're calling an audible. So Charlotte was literally stopping several times. That was insane to see. Like, Asuka is a pro in there. Let her do what she wants to do. You got to work with her. We see Charlotte doing this way too much more lately. Charlotte literally thinks that she's running that business because Vince McMahon is allowing her to do such. You're not a ring general over Asuka. Get over yourself. She just refused to sell so much from Asuka. And even afterwards, when Kairi got involved post-match, you saw Kairi wanting to send her into the corner, and Charlotte was just like, no. What are you just go into the corner, man. Kairi knows what she's doing. At one point before the commercial break, Asuka and Charlotte were up on the top turnbuckle, and Asuka was supposed to tug Charlotte to the outside floor. Charlotte drops down, and that's how we go to commercial. Charlotte didn't even wait for Asuka to tug her. Charlotte just jumped to the floor and acted like she was tugged, I guess. She didn't want Asuka to tug her. Or she just got scared up there and she just fell off. Either way, this is not the Charlotte that I know. She was off last night. Big time. Didn't even bother waiting for Asuka to tug her, or she just fell. Either way, Charlotte was off her game, man. She was like, I'm aborting this mission. I'm out of here. And she just flops. Just a bad performance by Charlotte Flair last night. And for that reason, usually Asuka and Charlotte is a pretty good match. It wasn't last night. Again, Charlotte's performance was totally off. The finish saw Kairi hit an insane elbow as the figure 8 lock was locked in. Leg lock. So that was pretty cool. You know, Charlotte's got the leg lock and Kairi's like, nah, you ain't tapping her out. Kairi does the insane elbow, so I do like that. But then Super Charlotte shows up. So after Asuka and Kairi, 2-on-1, cannot take out Charlotte. Charlotte gets the upper hand and Asuka and Kairi are on the outside like, damn it! Super Charlotte's like, that's right, I'll take on the entire roster at once. What is she gonna become? The Mon Part 2? Which, by the way, Becky Lynch did a backstage promo afterwards, and she did a heel-type promo. She was basically like, I looked at my title last night and I was doubting myself, but then I thought, no, I wasn't. I'm the best. I'm the best. And I told everybody I'm the best. And she turns around and her jacket says GOAT, the GOAT, greatest of all time. That was like a heel promo. And we saw Charlotte deliver a heel promo after she won the Rumble. It's almost like they know 50% of the audience is still not with you. They're not going to be with you. Maybe we should just have you being that in-betweener again. You know what I mean? Because they're both kind of a little heelish as of late. And it's finally that company realizing it's not working. Mojo Rawley comes out for a formal 24/7 title defense next with his new offensive lineman, or defensive back, or free safety, cornerback, whatever position he's supposed to be. But he's basically Mojo Rawley's backup, and this is NXT's Riddick Moss. He defeats No Way Jose in 1 minute, and post-match, a conga line member rolls up Mojo to win the 24/7 title. There's that devastating fruit roll-up, and it ends up being R-Truth. Truth is immediately pinned back by Mojo, and Mojo wins back his championship. So just when you thought this title would be taking at least a bit more seriously, just a bit, it's still supposed to be just a fun secondary title, you know, just bragging rights for the boys in the locker room. Not supposed to be taking that seriously. It's not supposed to be prestigious, but just a bit more serious than just everybody, a weatherman at the local news channel, grocery store employee. Everybody is winning the championship. Let's calm that down a little bit and make it a bit more serious. Mojo stated last week that that's what he was going to do. And the Singh brothers tried to roll him up last week, and he looked at them like, what are you doing? There's not going to be any more roll-up victories. That's basically what Mojo was presenting last week, and I was on board. This week, he's being rolled up. So that defeated his whole image in his speech last week. Because he was just rolled up by Truth again. 10 seconds later, Truth is redefeated. And Mojo gets it back. Just when you thought it was going to be taken a bit more seriously, we get the same circus. If that conga line was headed straight into a cement wall, not only would I join it, I'd be in the front of the line. This is what I mean. There's no consistency with not only the storylines, but with the characters. You made Mojo this person that's going to make the 24/7 title a little bit more relevant, just a bit more serious. And the very next week after you created that character for Mojo, it's the same old Mojo, rolled up for a 3-second victory out by R-Truth. Come on, bro. You just said you were going to stop that, and the next week you're doing it again. Which is it? Consistency is not a word that this company understands or can comprehend. Liv Morgan defeats Lana in a 4-minute match next. That's good for Liv. This whole thing was pointless, but hopefully the start of something special going forward for Morgan. Eric Rowan defeats Befuddled Bob in just 90 seconds. If Bob wasn't befuddled before the match, he surely was befuddled by the end of it, because Eric Rowan made light work of him and annihilated him again in 90 seconds. Thanks for coming, Befuddled Bob. And then the main event. Edge returns to Raw in the main event spot. Now, they played 12 times, I kid you not, 12 times during this 3-hour Raw. Actually, this was at the 2-hour, 45-minute mark. So in 2 hours and 45 minutes, they played the same video package 12 times, hyping up Edge's return. Guys, it was way overly done. We love Edge. That's enough. 12 times of the same video. I almost wanted to change the channel every time because it was becoming annoying. You were making me, for a second there, not want to see Edge, and that's not what we should be feeling. They played you would think literally it was the second coming of Christ. Oh, man. But I digress. We get Edge finally. Music hits. Here comes Edge. Street clothes. He doesn't have that big coat on, that big jacket, but he's in those street clothes, and he's got that same fire and passion. The fireworks are going off. The pyro's lit. And Edge gets in that ring, and he delivers an amazing, just amazing promo. It was such a passionate and real I'm back promo. But he did it in a way where you were just hanging on every word. And he was talking about how he wanted to make sure he busted his ass and fought tooth and nail to get back in there because he wanted to go out on his terms. And he may be 46 years old. And there may be wrinkles on his face. There may be gray hairs in his beard. And he may be older. But he needs to go back on his terms. And he needs to end his career on his terms. And he said he doesn't know. He was so truthful. I don't know when this ends, but I hope you all come along on this journey with me. And I was like, dude, I'm ready to leave now. He had me on board. I mean, I was like, I'm ready to leave now. I don't even need to be packed. Tell me where, dude. We're on this journey with you. I mean, I was ready to hit the gym, start a business, and solve world hunger's problems all in like an hour. He had me pumped. And then came Randy Orton. And you knew this wasn't good. But Orton played it off beautifully, gets in there. It's the old Brotherhood. It's rated RKO. You remember the old tag team? So Orton gets in there. They embrace in a big hug. And Orton even says, like, I'm thinking about getting the band back together. Rated RKO. You're here. I'm here. Mania's coming. There's tag titles. That'd be a pretty dynamite match. Then Buddy Murphy, Seth Rollins. Hey. But you knew Orton was up to something. The dude is literally a snake. The apex predator, they call him that for a reason. And he didn't even give Edge any time to contemplate anything. He just goes to turn around, even calls him his brother at one point. Called him his brother. Goes to turn around and he delivers an RKO out of nowhere. And I went back and I watched this about 7 times, just like it was on a GIF. Or GIF, what do you call it? It was on a GIF, how's that? But I just watched this thing on a loop, and the way Edge sold it, it was like he really didn't know it was coming. It was sold beautifully. He like puts his hands up like as if somebody that doesn't know something is coming, and their first natural instinct is to put your hands. He goes to put his hands up, but he gets the RKO, and then right after it's delivered, after he gets RKO'd, you see his hands go up again. Like he doesn't know what just hit him. It makes you feel for Edge even more, like this was his moment. How the fuck could you do that, you bastard? I loved it. And it didn't end there. It could have ended there, and it would have been a cool moment. But then the storytelling takes place. And I always tell you, psychology is so important. And Orton is one of the best at it. He takes the chair, he puts it around Edge's neck, and he's about to do the stomp thing on the chair, which will, that could snap a neck. And we know why Edge's career ended 9 years ago, because of his neck. So we're all like, whoa, And even Orton is contemplating it. For 2 minutes, Orton contemplates, should I do this? And he's contemplating, he goes to walk away. He throws the chair away, he goes to walk away. And people are booing him anyway, and I think that triggered him even more. So he went around the ringside, he got 2 more chairs, he slips them in. At this point, the referee knows this isn't going to end good, but he takes one of the chairs, he slips it underneath Edge's dome piece. He takes the other chair, and he places Edge's head so it's kind of twisted. So any impact is going to affect your neck when your head is that way. And he takes the other chair, and he totally smashes it down on the dome piece of Edge, affecting not just the dome piece, but in effect crushing that neck. And that's how he went off the air. Edge completely destroyed. You talk about emotion. You go on social media afterwards, people were in tears. In tears. Heartbroken was the word I was seeing. I was seeing words like, I need to see what happens to Edge next week. I need to see. Why? Why do you need to? Because it's a cliffhanger. Because it's proper storytelling between characters we actually care about. We actually give a shit about. When you do the right things, you're going to get the right results. Crazy concept. You hear me talk all this stuff about Charlotte and Roman, but you can't say I'm wrong, because when you listen to the reaction, half the crowd, every single arena, half at least, is not on board. But then you hear me talk positively about this, and then you look at the reaction. Everybody is into this. Maybe, just maybe, the Amplified knows exactly what he's talking about. The Amplified man knows exactly what he is saying. There's a crazy concept. And I do, because it's not rocket science. If you just take the time to dissect this stuff, to analyze it in a way that is logical, with common sense, and with a little bit of creativity yourself, you're going to come up with the facts. You don't need to do that much out-of-bounds research. The facts are sitting right before you. That's all you need, man. Characters we care about, a storyline that is enthralling and compelling, cliffhangers that get us to the next part of the story. And that's what we got at the ending last night. It was beautiful. It was a freaking masterpiece. And now we have to find out what happened to Edge. And now, guys, we have our WrestleMania match. Now, so, knowing Vince, he could have that for Saudi Arabia, actually. And maybe he's got something different planned for Edge at WrestleMania. Either way, it looks right now it's a WrestleMania match because it easily could be told as such. So yeah, I don't want to get my hopes up too much because you know the old man will dash them with the quickness. But I have all these thoughts for WrestleMania, man. And yeah, I can't let myself get to that place because knowing Vince, he'll put together something so stupid. But I don't want to take up any more of your guys' time. Hopefully I'll have an impromptu video tomorrow. Possibly. But definitely Thursday. It will be a double video upload day when AEW collides with NXT. They're both going to be putting on live shows tomorrow night. I'll have a separate review for AEW Thursday morning. And NXT will have a separate review Thursday. So that's the deal. Coffees and ass whoopings. You know the deal. As always, think, be, live. Amplified. Amplified, man. Yow. Check you later.